wasn't yours. I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back to who I was before. I like me better, I like me better.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another downfall video. So if you guys want to know what I'm talking about today, then let's go. Okay, so I got a DM of someone asking me to talk about the downfall of the Fenty fashion house. Hopefully everyone who read the title is understanding correctly, because you know I can already see the comments I am going to get in this video, from this video. But if you guys did not know, a couple years ago, Rihanna did start yet another company. It was the Fenty fashion house. So no, it's not the downfall of the Fenty empire, because there are a lot of brands under that. Okay, there's Fenty Beauty, Savage X Fenty, Fenty Skin, but there was the Fenty fashion house. And if you don't know what that is, basically it was from LVMH and Rihanna, and it was a luxury fashion house clothing brand from Rihanna. She's had other collaborations before that. There was her and Puma. Y'all know how successful that was. So when it was coming out that this is a new brand she was coming out with, I was excited. People were talking about it, and then it launched. And the reception after it launched was weird, and then time went on and it just didn't do what people thought it would do for a brand that was launched by Rihanna, because hello, we see the success of all the other ones that she had, right? And then last year it was announced that she and listen, the amount of times I'm gonna mess it up in this video, LVMH had agreed to put the brand on hold, to basically close it down for now. And I can't say I was surprised. I feel some type of way that y'all let that one, that's the one anyway. But I can't really say I was surprised. So I want to talk about some of the reasons that people, you know, didn't take to that brand like they did the other ones, and if I think there's anything that they could do in the future if there was going to be a comeback of the brand. Honestly, I feel like Rihanna had strays coming from her from all angles when this thing was first announced, behind the scenes, from consumers and people that were supposed to support her, like just all types of ways, all types of people who were not trying to support this venture from her. Behind the scenes, first, I feel like the fashion world, the fashion industry was not checking for it, because it was by Rihanna, because she was the face of this, because she's coming into their world in the fashion industry, and it's very much so, who does this girl think she is? She's gonna come in here and take my spot? And we've seen it before. We see it in the makeup industry so many times. Hello, when it was announced that Alicia Keys was coming out with her own beauty line, I'm pretty sure beauty line is what they said, and people are like, another celebrity just coming in, this is just a cash grab, she doesn't even know anything about makeup. And then it was announced that it was a skincare line, and like no one kept the same energy, no one said anything. But we see that all the time in the beauty industry. Same thing with the fashion industry. Now, there was a girl that I used to know that she is heavily in the fashion industry, and I mean like working in it, not, you know, like she just likes fashion. She's even a fashion designer herself, and she kept it a buck. Listen, the fashion world, it's very elitist, okay? Very you can't sit with us. And I mean, even if she didn't tell me this, from the few things that I have witnessed working in the fashion industry myself, I really didn't need her to tell me that. But it is very much so, if you tried the whole, you know, kind of like cancel culture thing with people in the fashion industry, like they would laugh at you. I'm pretty sure she said that at one point. I'm pretty sure she said, like, if you tried the whole you can't say that or you can't do that, they would look at you like, okay. So anyway, back to regular business. And I mean, just look at how the fashion, especially we're talking like luxury designer type fashion, look at how they move. You already know that. Like, look at how they treat the people that are buying their stuff. I feel like you can already put two and two together, that industry is very closed off, you have to prove yourself, because hello, these companies, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, we're gonna raise our prices $5,000. Consumers, you're gonna complain about it, but you're still gonna buy it because it's Chanel and it's Louis Vuitton, and they know that. And so Louis Vuitton and Chanel are looking at you like, I don't care if you feel some type of way. You gonna buy it? Yes? Okay, get out my face. You know, just very snobby, very, I can look down at you and be very open that I'm looking down at you type of feel. So when Rihanna's coming in, and before, you know, she had popular collaborations, Puma, wasn't there some other type of collaboration that she had done before, like that type of stuff? It's like, I went to a whole fashion institution and she gets to come in here, get a brand with LVMH and all this, right? So because there's that attitude behind the scenes in the fashion industry, like stylists, they were not trying to pull Rihanna stuff for their clients. When I say pull, I mean, as a stylist, with how it works behind the scenes, you get to take items from companies to put on the clients that you are styling so that they can be seen on red carpets, you know, at events, big on magazine covers, like that type of stuff. Like they were not trying to mess with that brand. It's just for that reason, like you haven't proven yourself and we're gonna give you that hard time, like a hazing type thing, like that type feeling. It was very much so doing that, especially with like, because I know people are gonna be like, well, what does it matter that, you know, even if they're black, that they didn't support? It does, okay? It does. But then you say to yourself, okay, she's Rihanna. She doesn't need you, right? She's proven that she's got support with the makeup line. She's proven that she's got support with the other collabs she's done, you know, MAC, Puma. It's coming to my head as I keep talking about it. So she doesn't need you to pull her stuff and put it on a celebrity. She's got all the other people, right? Here's the problem when it comes to some of the reasons why her fan base didn't support this line. First, you don't have to support everything as a fan of someone that they venture out into, right? It works for you if you can do that. You know, I mean, Rihanna is an example of someone who people are going to support it simply because it is Rihanna, but not everyone has to do that. Not everyone is going to do that. There are some people who very much so just want music from Rihanna. That's what they knew from her. That's what they want from her. So they're not trying to do all this other stuff. They're not trying to support all this other stuff. There are some people, they're only going to support the makeup. They don't really care about Rihanna's music. So there's that side, right? Now you got to cut down the number of fans that are going to support this new line. Now, another reason that her fans couldn't support this is because a lot of her fans couldn't afford the price of this fashion house. It's a fashion house by LVMH, okay? I'm like the stuff, the average person cannot wake up one day and just say, you know what, I'm gonna go buy, how much was it, $640 shoes? They couldn't do that. So they were excited when they heard it was coming out, like I can't wait to see it, but then they saw it and they saw the price and they were like, I can only afford a beanie. I can only afford maybe the sunglasses. Like that's like, damn, can I even afford to be on the site? So now you're taking away an even bigger chunk of her fan base that just can't support this business for her, right? So that's what I'm saying. When you have a fan base, they don't have to support everything that you do, but when they do, it helps. But we talked about this before. As a celebrity who was launching something, there are some celebrities, they are completely fine with creating something that people are going to buy simply because they are that celebrity. It's going to stay within their fan base and they don't care because they're going to make money that way. But the celebrities who create a business that has an even broader audience, that will attract people because of the business and not because of the celebrity, smart business right there. So you start thinking, okay, well, even if she doesn't need all of her fan base, what about the part of her fan base that can afford it, that does want to support it, and other people who can afford luxury fashion? Well, going into it, like I said, she was already catching strays just because people are already looking at you like, who are you? What did you do to be able to come out with this type of pricing, that type of stuff? And then you look at the actual stuff that she was coming out with when she launched as a company. If you guys remember, I have some pictures popping up if I can find them, of what her items were looking like. It wasn't, you know, very practical. I definitely heard conversation about, so she gonna come out with this overpriced and this is what she's going to give. She wants me to wear that type thing. I definitely think some of the stuff was, you know, a little different, but it's Rihanna. I mean, hello, she can wear anything because it's Rihanna. And I think people were saying she took that into the line and didn't realize that you can wear it because you're Rihanna. I can't wear that and look like Rihanna. I'm gonna look like me and whatever that is, right? So people definitely had that type of feeling about the company. So the people that can afford luxury fashion were looking at it like, I'm supposed to wear that? So the actual items, some of them didn't help. I mean, I'm talking, you know, just like public opinion, not necessarily how I felt about the stuff that she launched. But it's that honesty that we be talking about in these videos. If we're going to be honest, yes, I am fully aware that there are people out there who you know, they wear or they spend their money on luxury fashion because they like the quality more of the stuff that they're buying, because they prefer the customer service, the customer experience when you buy from these places. I mean, obviously because they can afford to shop at these places, because they have created their own fashion sense. So they like shopping at different design, like more specific, custom, luxury designers, stuff like that, because you're probably not as likely to walk into a restaurant in the middle of Atlanta and see the thing that you're wearing all over everyone else. Now, yes, before anyone says anything, yes, fully aware, I can name a luxury item right now that I've seen on 4 or 5 different celebrities, right? But I'm talking like people who are invested in luxury fashion, who, you know, they know more than the same like 4 luxury brand designers that you see people talking about on social media. Like, if you think about it, you're probably a little less likely to see someone wearing the $2,000 dress that you bought from this luxury designer all over the place compared to this, right? When I tell you, I literally only had to type in Fashion Nova dress because I couldn't remember what the actual name of the dress was, but I just knew like that was where you could get that dress. I'm sure you've seen this dress all over the place, right? Because it's probably a dress that's like, what, $30? It's more accessible because it's more affordable. So it's going to be easier for more people to get that, as opposed to, again, like I said, like the average person is not waking up and being able to afford a $600 shoe. They can't afford a $2,000 dress either, right? So there are some people who like luxury fashion for that reason. But someone gotta be honest for you, so I'm gonna say it. There's a large number of people who buy luxury fashion items who are buying it not necessarily because they have created their own type of fashion, not necessarily because they think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Because let's be real, we done seen a lot of things where it's like, I know you know that looks a hot mess, but it just has the right brand name on it. Like you looked at that and you knew like that is wild. What is going on here? But you still put it on because it's Louis Vuitton. I trust that I'm going to wear this on a red carpet, and even if people don't necessarily like it, they're still gonna know it's Louis Vuitton, and they're still gonna talk about it. And for a lot of people, publicity is publicity, good or bad. So I'm gonna still wear it that way. They don't really care about, you know, fashion set and all that. They don't care about that. They care about being recognized, and they care about status, the status of the company that they're actually purchasing from. They're gonna shop from a brand that has recognition, that has history, that has a legacy, because if you recognize that, then you'll recognize that that's not cheap. And if you recognize it's not cheap, you'll recognize they were able to afford it, and then you'll recognize their status as someone who is of a higher status. And again, people not gonna wanna admit that, but being able to be perceived as someone with a higher status is something that a lot of people want, whether you want to admit that or not. So they're not going to support Fenty, even though it's a brand that's by one of the biggest celebrities out there. The brand itself doesn't have that brand recognition, that legacy for the people who can afford it, whether they're who are not fans. So like that audience of people that are luxury fashion consumers. It's not big enough for them to want to wear it. Like, I can't buy this dress that already looks like this and I wear it into a restaurant and people are like, okay, that looks like it could be from Fashion Nova. Like, what is that going to do for me? Think of it this way. Actually, I'll use this brand instead. Kai Collective, luxury pricing, right? Luxury designer type clothing that they've got going on there, and luxury clothing designer that's putting out trendy clothing, so trendy that all these fast fashion companies are taking their designs, right? Find out Fashion Nova, Pretty Little Thing, She, and all that stuff. The same people who can afford to buy Fenty's clothing will see Kai Collective, but not enough people are talking about Kai Collective, right? You gotta lead them to the water, but they're still not gonna drink because I don't know you, right? There are some people, they just don't know some of these brands exist. I'm talking about the people who know these brands exist and they're not going to buy them yet because that status is just not there yet. So even though Kai might be putting out collections that they like, I'm gonna go buy it from Fashion Nova. I know you exist, but I'm gonna go buy it from Fashion Nova or from Shein because who is Kai Collective for me to be giving them $300 for a shirt that I can get from Fashion Nova, and I'm gonna get that same trendy look. People are still going to look at me, all that stuff, right? But if Gucci was the one who stole that from Kai Collective, they'd go buy it from Gucci. I'll give Gucci that money. I can't give you that money even though you're a little less than Gucci and even though you're also designer, but you don't have that name recognition that Gucci has. And especially if Gucci puts a little monogram, little print logo on it, I'd rather get it from Gucci. But give it a couple of years and let Kai Collective, become a, what's a brand that, become a, who's a brand that's real trendy right now? Become a Bottega? Okay, now you can have my money. You see, like, that's what I'm talking about, as where even for the people who had the money to spend on Fenty, they weren't going to check for it either because it just did not have that recognition. So the lack of recognition, the clothing, and then you look at the people who didn't have the funds of it. Like I said, I was not really surprised when I saw that they had announced that about Fenty. Now, when I did check out the press releases about them shutting down for right now, they gave off a tone that this is not forever, it's just like a regroup type thing, which if you followed what happened with Savage X Fenty, the same thing kind of happened. Well, they didn't shut down Savage X Fenty, but they quickly realized that it was not the reception they were expecting when they launched Savage X Fenty. So, they did a quick little rebrand, gave more of that bad gal Riri for the company, and then, rebranded, and now she's launching physical stores for Savage X Fenty. I know Victoria's Secret somewhere over there shaking and throwing up, okay? They're launching physical stores for Savage. So do I think it is the end for Fenty, the fast fashion? My bad. Fenty, the fashion house? No, I don't. I definitely think they could do a rebrand for the company. Now, what do I think some of the things are they could do? I think if they did a rebrand and a relaunch, just the fact that it's a rebrand and a relaunch for something that Rihanna did, that people look at it like it failed, that's already going to have people wanting to purchase from the company. Like, what she got going on? What you gonna do now that's even better than the first time around, right? But also, like I said before, I wasn't giving my actual opinion on the stuff that Fenty had launched but the first time around, because I purchased something when the company launched, right? Like, I liked stuff. I have shirts back there from Fenty. There's actually a pair of shoes I will never forget. I hope they bring it back if they do come back, because I didn't think they were going to close that quickly when they announced that they were going to shut that fashion house down. I didn't think it was going to be that quickly, so I hope they do bring that back. But I definitely saw things that I know I liked about it. I honestly think that it was ahead of its time. Like, this type of stuff Rihanna was putting out, I feel was ahead of its time, because now I'll be on Instagram, I'll be on, some of these designer websites like Farfetch, Sense, whatever that one's called, and I'll see stuff and I'm like, that looks like a dress that came out at Fenty. But then I'll realize it's not something from Fenty. It's just like another designer who put out something that looks very much so like stuff that I saw on Fenty's website. I don't know if because it did shut down, people are like, well, I liked it when I saw it, and if it's not around, she's not gonna sell it, I might as well create it myself and sell it, right? But it's giving very much so inspired. Some of the stuff I'm seeing out here is giving very much so inspired. So I feel like it was ahead of its time, and if they did come back, maybe start with something a little more on the trendier side, just to get people a little more receptive to wanting to, dabble their toes in, wanting to try it out. Because I feel like, because to me, I'm seeing more and more people creating stuff that she already did. I'm aware that she has the capability of creating even other things that are unique and you haven't seen all over the place. But to start out, maybe test the waters a little bit by putting out things that are just a little more on the trendier side. Please, no cutouts though. I'm tired of mesh. I'm tired of swirls. Please, a little trendy, but not too trendy, okay? And maybe like a better connection with the target audience for this if they do come back with this one, because I feel like people perceived it like it was for the fans, and her fans were going to keep this alive and stuff like that. But the brand didn't really give off that vibe. But at the end of the day, it's Rihanna. The woman continues to show that even when she gets knocked down, she's going to continue to get back up, listen, take feedback, and make it even better. So I don't think that there's that much that needs to be said. If she does come back around,